That's probably not the noise I should make after murdering someone like that. Whoops. And we're back with the sequel. This review is going to be a little bit different from my other ones. All two of them. Anyways, this is a direct sequel, which means I'm going to compare it a lot to the first one. I'm also going to assume that you're familiar with Prototype 1. I'll be bringing it up a lot, so maybe it's not that important you know what happens in the first game, but still. Alright, with all that being said, let's look at the intro. Personally, I like it just as much as the first game's intro. It's also a little bit longer than Prototype 1's intro, so I'll try to keep it brief. The first half of the cutscene is multiple phone calls between our main guy and his family, interspersed with multiple news reports about increasing Blackwatch patrols and a second outbreak of the Blacklight virus. Well, they call it the Mercer virus now, but whatever. The end of this half is the main character coming home to his wife's dead body. Flash forward, and now we're in an APC. This man, menacingly sharpening his knife, is Sergeant James Heller, and he's our protag this go around. I love him. We'll talk about why later, but just know, this man is entertaining as hell. The cutscene ends with the car being thrown at our APC, flipping it over. Heller wakes up, sees Alex Mercer, and we're in gameplay. Kind of. We don't have powers yet. This section is us chasing after Alex. It ends with us running away from a large infected and killing a brawler. Then Mercer infects us. After passing out, we wake up in a lab, and this is the real tutorial. It shows us the very basics: regular attacks, heavy attacks, and consuming for health. It ends with us breaking out, we meet Mercer again, he tells us he didn't release the virus, and now we're in the open world. Admittedly, it's not as extravagant as the first game's opening, but I still like it for different reasons. The section of the first cutscene that's just phone calls and news reports is a nice summary of what happened after the first game, and it gives a nice revenge motivation to Heller, because, you know, he thinks that Alex released the virus a second time, which ended up killing his wife and daughter. The gameplay sections are nothing special, but I do like them. The first one, where you're just a normal dude, is a pretty neat look into how Alex Mercer and the infected appear to normal people. Not that Heller is normal, but you get what I mean. The second section, post power-up, is an effective tutorial and establishes a few important characters that you're going to be meeting throughout the campaign. Neat stuff. Now, just like Prototype 1, the best part about Prototype 2 is the gameplay, but there are changes, big and small. I'm mostly neutral on them. We'll start in the same place we did last time, movement. It's the same deal as last time. You can sprint, jump, and charge jump, kind of. It works differently this time. In the first game, you held the jump button down, then released when it was charged up. Here, you press and hold to reach maximum height. You can let go early if you just want to do a small jump. It's not any better or worse for me, it's just different. Although having played these games back to back, it does take a minute to get used to. Otherwise, everything else is the same, except for one thing. The flair of the movement system has been skinned and gutted. No flips over cars, one jump animation, and when you land on a car, it doesn't get crushed like the first game. The windows break and the doors open. That's it. No deformation. All the weight and power of the animations are still there, but that little extra pizzazz isn't. And you notice that missing pizzazz, especially when you play the games back to back. It's small in the grand scheme of things, but it's still irritating, since as far as I can tell, the parkour animations were removed for no reason. But hey, by the end of the game, you can sprint faster, jump higher, and air dash and glide more and longer than you ever could in the first game, thanks to the new upgrade system. We'll talk about that later, but for now, let's get to what is still my favorite part of the game: combat. It's probably what's been changed the most. You are still a mega meat grinder, and the world is meat, but things are different now. First off, they've stripped all of your fists moveset. All that's left is a basic 5-hit combo, and if you hold the button down, a strong kick. The air kick is still here, and so is the body surf, which is a good one to keep. They also removed the muscle mass power, which makes sense. There's not really a fist moveset to warrant having them. The rest of the powers are still there, but have been tweaked a little. Besides different attack animations for all of them, you can have 2 of them on at the same time. You assign them to different buttons, and most of the special moves are different. The claws, instead of a ground spike, have a long-range pounce. This does a pretty good job at making them not completely obsolete when you get anything else because it's a really good single target move. It's also presented really well. That little slow motion and camera angle change happens every other time you use it. Gives it more impact. You can also grab with this, although I'm pretty sure pouncing to grab someone is the default air grab for everything except the whip fist. The Hammer Fist straight up stole the ground spike from the claws, and you know what? Good for them. It puts them to much better use than the claws ever did. Hammer Fists definitely got the best glow up from Prototype 1. They're faster, their AoE is much better, and the ground spikes give them even more AoE and much better visual flair. The hammer toss ability is missing though, which is pretty disappointing. They could have easily had it in the game. The Whip Fist is largely unchanged. It lost its weird single target combo, which good, it sucked. Instead, we have a sweeping combo that's based off of the sweeping move you could get in the first game. It ends in an overhead slam. The long range attack is still the same, and so is the long range grab. The blade is still baller as fuck. Instead of the charge move, you have a spinny spin that has a lot more coverage than you think it would. And the air slice is still strong AF, although not as strong as it was in the first game, which is probably a good thing, because it was kind of overpowered there. Still my first place weapon, but the tendrils come close to dethroning it. These are brand new weapons, and boy are they awesome. You smack someone with them and tendrils spew out of them and rip them to pieces. On bigger enemies and vehicles, it holds them in place, which syncs really well with the blade and claws because you get a prompt to cut off limbs. Its special move is called Black Hole, and it is so goddamn cool. I've never not felt a shot of dopamine when I do that. A really good addition to the roster. Speaking of additions to the roster, I present to you the Bio Bomb.
Holy Jesus, what the hell was that?
Turning someone into a biological grenade is definitely one of the more creative abilities that I've seen in pretty much any game, honestly. It's a unique way to modify throwing someone without just making you throw harder. Your defensive powers have changed too. Armor has been wiped from existence and shield has changed entirely. Instead of being a front-facing barrier that you could move around with, it has turned into an invincible turtle shell. You can't move when you're using it anymore, but you're invincible, and if you time your blocks right, you can parry attacks. If you parry a rocket, it bounces it back, and if you parry one of the tougher enemies, it stuns them for a few seconds, and sometimes it lets you do a special counter attack. Maybe it lets you do one of the special counters every time. I wasn't keeping track. More on defensive options, the dodge has been changed too. Instead of being the almost useless thing it was in the first game, it has been greatly improved. I think they added iframes to it, but more importantly, when you dodge towards someone, you leap over their head like you're Spider-Man, and for some enemies, this prompts a special counterattack. No exaggeration, if dodging worked like this in the first game, like 40% of my criticisms would have been retracted. It's that good of a change. You can still use guns and vehicles like in the first game. Guns are exactly the same, no changes there. There is more stuff to do with vehicles this time. You can still hijack them and drive them, of course, but there's two other options. You can either weaponize them, which means you rip off their extra gun or missile pod and use it against them, or you can use a finisher. It's always an instant kill, and the animation you get is weapon specific. My favorite one is a helicopter uppercut, but they're all really good. Now last but not least, for combat that is, we have the Devastators. They're different now too. The original ones are not here at all, instead we just have two new ones. This first one that you just saw, I don't remember the name of it. Functionally, it's kind of like the Tendril Barrage, but with a super ground slam added at the beginning for extra impact. The second one is very different from any of the other ones in the series. It's called Brawler Pack. You summon brawlers, which are these dudes right here. You can direct them at anything you want, and when you're done with them, you can make them explode all over enemies for extra damage. At least I think it does extra damage. I didn't make them explode all that much. Anyways, this is a cool power, and definitely my most used one out of the two. For more gameplay stuff, stealth is still here and still terrible. It is better than it was in the first game, which isn't exactly hard to do. This time, when you go to stealth consume someone, you do this little lunge thing and time slows down. You can either go aggressive by just grabbing them and eating them, or you can stealth consume them, which won't work if someone is looking at them, like the first game. I like stealth better here because it's faster and less janky to target someone specific. You don't have to awkwardly position yourself to be able to successfully eat someone. Besides stealth consume, you can also stealth biobomb someone for a lethal distraction. Very effective, just don't use it next to your mission target, because you can accidentally kill them. I don't have any footage of this, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. There is another new power. It's not for combat or anything. It's called Hunting Pulse. It's basically just a meat sonar that shows you where your mission target is, and when you're sneaking, it shows you who's looking at the guy you're targeting. It's neat and thematically fitting. The tutorial telling you how it works is super irritating though, cause it's really obvious how it works, and it pauses the game like 4 times to tell you how it works. Sorry, I'm ranting a little because the other tutorials do not do this, at least not this aggressively. I mentioned the upgrade system earlier, it's completely different from the first game. Prototype 1, you got points for missions and fighting dudes, and then you go to the menu and buy what you want. Some things you got from progressing the story, but for the most part, this is how you got more moves and abilities. In Prototype 2, there's like 3 different upgrade things, and how you progress in them is different from each other. There's the basic level up menu, you get EXP or EP, and you level up. These are your core stats like health and movement speed. Pretty self-explanatory, although regeneration isn't just passive health regain like I thought it was at first, it also improves how much health you get back by consuming someone. There's also the mutation menu. These are, for the most part, smaller buffs. You know, stuff like 10% more range on your melee or reach your top speed faster. Of course, there's some standout ones, like a 50% increase to top sprint speed or literally becoming bulletproof. Honestly, it's not like this one was needed. The military's overall damage has been drastically reduced, with the super soldier being the only one that's buffed up from the first game. The mutations are unlocked by doing side missions. You have to do a whole set of them, it's not like a one and done kind of thing. You don't just get to pick any mutation either, you pick from the category that the set of side missions is tied to. Last but not least are the upgrades you get by consuming things with this arm icon above their head. This is how you improve your attack powers and effectiveness with military stuff. It's not just damage that gets increased, it's also stuff like range and the special moves with the weapon powers. For example, with the blade you start out with 2 spins, but by the final upgrade you have 4 spins and the range is bumped up a little. You do more damage too, but I think that goes without saying. For all of the military stuff, ammo count and damage gets increased. I believe this also affects the weapons you get from weaponizing, but I'm not too sure about that. Consuming the infected is what improves your attack powers, eating Blackwatch people improves the military stuff. Although, besides the scripted consuming upgrades, the power/ability that gets improved is random. Or at least I never found any consistency with it. One neat thing is when a weapon gets upgraded, its appearance changes too. The last form of any of the weapons make the first forms look like butter knives in comparison. Now that's pretty much everything for gameplay. Well, it's all the stuff we can do anyways. Now you're probably wondering, did they change the enemies? Yeah, still the same 2 factions. You got Blackwatch and the Infected. Blackwatch is pretty much the same as the first game, except for their edgelord uniform change. That's an XX_Shadow Slayer if I've ever seen one. The Super Soldiers got the biggest and maybe only change gameplay-wise. You have to parry their attacks, and you can't dodge over them like everything else, because they just fucking slap you away from them. They also have consume animations now, which is good, because they just kind of fell over and died in the first game. The Infected, on the other hand, have had a lot added to them. I mentioned the Brawlers earlier, they're the replacements for the Hunters from the first game. They're practically identical, but they are so much better to fight, because 1, you can actually effectively dodge them now, and 2, they don't spam bullshit that stunlocks you anymore. Although that's actually the case with pretty much every enemy now. The stunlock is not even close to as strong as it was in Prototype 1, which is a good thing. Stunlock made some parts of 1 unfucking bearable. Anyways, back to Brawlers. Maybe they have some other attacks and moves they can do that the Hunters couldn't, but I wasn't paying super close attention to them. Juggernauts are up next. These big old bastards cannot be attacked from the front. Your weapons will bounce right off of them. The strategy here is to get behind them and rip their goddamn arms off. I didn't know if they could fight back after you did this, because they tend to die really fast afterwards, but in this footage they're punching me, so I guess they can. Same thing with Brawlers, by the way. You can cut and rip their limbs off. The The Evolved are what I'd call mini-boss type enemies, because they're strong, but not strong enough to be a boss, even though they're set up like one sometimes. These are the duelists of the Infected. It's like fighting a mini version of you, especially since some of them are using weapons that you consume them for. I like fighting them. They're quick, agile, and can really mess you up if you don't get into the right fight tempo with them. Although personally, the best part about them is that every single Evolved is a massive, arrogant shit talker.
Need to stop and rest, old man?
You're nothing, Heller. You're less than nothing.
You're just using oxygen one of us can make better use of.
I could pull more examples, but we'd be here for a while. It's kind of impressive how consistent it is. There's only a few Evolved that don't shit talk, and that's because they don't speak. Or, you know, they just say something equivalent to, "I'm gonna kill you." It's really funny. These next boys are my favorite. The Goliaths. They are big and really fun to fight. They have 3 phases. In each phase, you wait for them to do one specific move, then you cut at the specific weak spot for the phase you're on. Their moves change depending on which phase you're on, and the last phase has the best moves. Well, one attack in particular.
Get off, forces, back off! Back off!
Straight up, one of the coolest attacks I've seen from an enemy. There's something so satisfying about seeing a massive behemoth launch itself into the air and then come back down like a meteor. You could probably tell. They're not hard to fight, but from a pure spectacle standpoint, these guys are incredible. It's a damn shame you only get to fight them 3 times? Question mark, because I don't exactly remember. But I guess they'd feel less special if you got to fight them more. They're the exact type of big event level fight that I love, especially since they aren't annoying. Yeah, that's right, I'm talking about you. There's only one boss this time, but I can't really talk about it right now because it's a story spoiler. The Hydras are also here, I guess. I didn't mention them earlier because honestly, I don't know or even think they're any different from the first game because I don't think you fought a single one of those outside of a vehicle. I can definitely say that the missions where you have to fight them are way better in 2. Speaking of, I can safely say, without a doubt, that I do not hate any of the missions in Prototype 2. Easily the largest improvement from the first game for me, besides Stunlock getting neutered. Now there are some I don't care for, like the 30,000 pickup helicopter cargo and a timer missions, but in my opinion, the vast majority are pretty good. Maybe a bit repetitive, but I'd rather fight over and over than go through some of the bullshit I had to in the first game. By the way, those pick up the cargo missions I talked about are only part of the side missions. You won't have to do anything like that in the main missions. That's something that's different too. There's actually side missions, and they're pretty alright. They're mostly just go kill the thing type missions, which I'm okay with. Again, I'd rather fight over and over than get fucked in a helicopter. If you watch my Prototype 1 review, you know what I'm talking about. Now that we're talking about side stuff, I might as well quickly mention Radnet. This, at launch, was DLC. I say at launch because I don't think you can buy a copy of Prototype 2 without it now. This adds skins, wacky modifiers, and side activities. Note, I said side activities, not side missions. The difference being, side missions have story in them, and the activities are just arcade-style gimmick missions. I don't think I even mentioned the side activities in 1, because they were just kind of whatever, but here, there's actually a point to them other than just more gameplay. Not that just getting more gameplay is a bad thing. If you complete every single side challenge, you get to use Alex Mercer as a skin. That's a worthy reward in my opinion. Going back to actual side missions, the real standout in them, and the main missions too, is Heller himself. Whoever wrote Heller's dialogue was having fun. I have never heard someone deliver a better fuck or bitch in my life. It's so entertaining to listen to this man go off. This particular scene comes to mind.
I'm at the computer, what do I press?
First, you need
I'm
to...
pressing the red button. Shit, now the screen's all fucked up. Shit's broken.
Okay, press the alternate key. ALT alternate.
Alt? There's no fucking alt. I got a fucking squiggly line key. I got a fucking key with a triangle on it. What the fuck kind of keyboard is this anyway?
Oh, James, calm down. There should be a button with a blue square on it.
Okay, that's more like it. Bringing up the personnel database. All right, got the location.
Don't forget to log off.
Yeah.
Terminal 4 is currently logged on with no personnel present. Please return to your station and commence proper log-off procedure.
Fuck off. I hate computers.
There are many more examples of this, and not just from Heller. Every other person that speaks goes off like Heller does here, or is a Class A shit talker. Or both. That's not even mentioning the morbid humor that is present throughout the entire game. The amount of times Heller just casually mentions eating someone is kind of messed up. And really funny. All of that is mostly in the side missions, but it's definitely in the main missions too. Not that Prototype 2 is never serious, but the serious tone is mostly in the cutscenes, which are great. They're stylized in black and white, with the only color coming through being red, or the glow from Virus stuff, and Blackwatch stuff. I don't know if the black and white was to save time or whatever, but it looks good to my eyes. I can say that about the actual game too. For a game that is 13 years old, this looks really good. The buildings look like actual buildings, the water puddles have reflections, character models look good and vary somewhat. The parts of the red zone covered in Virus look virusy. You get it, it looks good. You know what isn't very good though? The story. I think it has good and or interesting moments, and the dialogue is pretty solid the whole time, except for one part. But it kind of falls apart in the third act and has some pacing issues pretty much throughout the whole thing, which is either a blessing or a curse, depending on how you look at it. But for people who don't want the story spoiled, go to here. Okay, so I didn't tell you all the details of the cutscene that ends the intro. Alex doesn't just say that he wasn't the one responsible for releasing the virus a second time, he also places the blame directly on Blackwatch and Gentek, and he wants Heller's help to destroy them. He tells Heller to go get stronger, then walks off. The next mission is a very quick tutorial. It's just to show us how sprint, disguise, and the alert meter works. After getting away from the scripted alert, Heller comes across his old church and Father Guerra. Father Guerra is an absolute homie, by the way, and he proves that after we prove that we can fight back against Blackwatch.
Father.
James, did you go to the park?
Yeah.
And did you stop them?
Oh, I stopped the hell out of them. Father, you okay?
Follow me. We have a lot to do. There are 10,000 Blackwatch troops in NYZ, and who knows what Gentek is doing in those laboratories. We need to put them down.
So you trust him?
I don't know about that, but I can tell you this, James. If Alex Mercer wants to kill every last one of those Blackwatch and Gentek putos, then I am with him.
What about God? He okay with this?
You let me handle him.
What a legend. Guerra introduces the side missions after this. The first side mission you do is actually a main one in disguise, and it's where the funny computer scene comes from. The next few missions are dedicated to hunting down Blackwatch and Gentek personnel, and just generally disrupting their experiments. During all this, Blackwatch figures out Guerra is helping us, and they send their goons to the church to get him. We save Guerra, and after he gets to safety in the green zone, he directs us to Dr. Koenig to kill him. Not that we needed much reason to. He was the main scientist dude who was cutting us up in the intro. But when we reach him, Koenig actually seems thrilled that we're alive. So we don't kill him. Not because he's happy to see us. He gives us information on a super soldier project, which I thought Blackwatch already had super soldiers, but whatever. We go to mess up the project, except they've already made some super soldiers, so we kill them and destroy facilities that will help them make more. Which doesn't really work considering how many super soldiers we fight in the campaign, but whatever. After destroying all that, Koenig sends us to a place called the Proving Grounds to kill a successful Phase 2 super soldier, which is just a normal one fused with Heller's DNA. I don't think we fight another one in the campaign, or even in the side missions. I could be wrong, though. Anyways, we kill and eat him, and get our first Devastator. It knocks us unconscious, though. After waking up, we eat the other head scientist for Project Orion, and the memory we get reveals that Koenig set us up to die. Which, he probably should have tried a little harder if he wanted to get us killed, but whatever. Guy's a slacker, I guess. This makes Heller slightly angry.
Sergeant Heller, why are you so cross? Have I done something to offend you?
Drop the act, you lying sack of shit. You think you can play me like this?
Well, I think I already have.
We take down the ambush he set up, go to where he's holed up, take down the gunship he gets in, go to consume him, and...
I'm what you could have been.
Yeah, Koenigs and Evolved. We already know what they are, but this is the first time in-game you meet one. It's actually a pretty cool reveal the first time around. We kill him, eat him, and the memory we get tells us that there's more like him. Mercer confirms this a few seconds later, saying that the Evolved have infiltrated basically every level of Blackwatch and Gentek. Which is definitely true, considering how many of them we fight in the campaign and side missions, like, holy shit. This puts everything Mercer said into question. That and his response to getting rid of the virus.
You and I will lead an attack that will wipe Blackwatch and Gentek off the face of the Earth.
And the virus.
What?
The virus goes too, right?
All of it. It's in the plan.
Yeah, that's shady as fuck, which means Heller doesn't even slightly trust Mercer anymore. We get a call from Guerra to come to the green zone, which is supposed to be the safe zone, but,
All the Gen Techies. Probably moving it south, though. Fucking infected are coming in from the red zone tunnels.
it looks like it's seen better days. This is Act 2, by the way. We find Father Guerra in the green zone, and he shows us a video.
You're saying the second outbreak started in the exact same place as the first?
Look.
So, as it turns out, Mercer did, in fact, release the virus a second time, which means he got Heller's wife and kid killed. With that revealed, Heller is now fully dedicated to completely screwing over Mercer and his plans. And, to killing Mercer. After we do a short mission that's mostly just a tank tutorial, we are set loose in the green zone. At this point, multiple main missions start showing up at the same time, but our first stop is Sabrina Galloway. She's another big player in Mercer's plans. She's a Gentek plant. I think she's the CFO or something. I don't know what that is, but it sounds expensive. We go to kill her, but she offers a truce. She feeds us info and gets to live. We get to screw over Mercer and his plans. Win-win. She sends us to kill other Evolved, and we do that. The memories we get from them is just Mercer telling them to do shit. The real interesting part of Act 2 is when we learn about White Light from Father Guerra. It's supposedly a cure for the virus, so we're invested in making sure it works as advertised. We go to consume the dude in charge of releasing the first batch of it, but he's an Evolved, which is not good news at all. It also means the entire project is now, probably, some part of Mercer's grand plan. We get more details from consuming more Evolved that are directly involved with White Light. The very last person's memories tell us that Mercer's DNA has been injected into White Light to do something to it. What that something is, we find out when we release a small dose of the stuff.
I can't. Corporal, open the valves. Yes, sir.
White Light has been poisoned with the Mercer virus, with everyone exposed to it either dying, becoming infected, or becoming Evolved, all under the direct influence of Alex Mercer, I think. Some of the previous and upcoming memory cutscenes make it sound like that's what's happening, at least. Blackwatch at large takes notice of White Light being compromised, and that ruffles Alex's popped collar.
Fucking hell. Imagine if Gentek had released all this White Light. The whole city would be crawling with Evolved. Mercer!
Not often that I'm this disappointed in someone, Sergeant Heller. You've disrupted my plans, wasted all that white light.
Now everything I planned for you, everything I've given you, you're not even capable of appreciating it.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about!
Such a waste. Goodbye, Heller.
You can't kill me. You can't kill me, motherfucker. All right then. Let's see if that goes both ways.
It would have been quick, but now I'm gonna make you suffer.
Well, that was weird. After fending off the Goliath that Mercer leaves behind, we get a call from Guerra. He's being attacked by the infected. It's clearly a retaliation from Alex. We don't make it in time. RIP to a real one. But while we're grieving for our one and only homie, his phone goes off and we meet his contact face to face. By the way, Guerra had a contact he's been talking to for the whole game called Athena. But Athena is actually Dana Mercer. That's Alex Mercer's sister. I barely mentioned her in the review of the first game because honestly, she's just mission giver hacker man in the first game. Anyways, she tells us that her daughter is alive. Huh. I mean, okay. I guess we didn't come across her body in the opening cutscene, but really? She is? With this new info, we go to the red zone to track down Dana Mercer. This is the start of Act 3. After finding Dana, we do a little mission for her, then we get called by Galloway about something called Operation Firehawk. You can probably guess what it is from the name. It's just another bomb the city thing, but we stop it almost immediately. It's 2 missions of finding out what it is, then the last one is actually stopping it. Act 3 happens so fast. At this point, it's like 2 other missions before the end of the game, not counting side stuff, of course. Those other 2 missions are us trying to find our daughter, by the way. We consume government people to get that info, cause the government has her for some reason. The first guy we consume is a government agent who doesn't know where Maya is? Amaya? I don't remember her name, but he does know where a guy who is going to be taken to her is. The other guy is a scientist guy who's going to vivisect her, by the way. I don't know why, but fucking wow. We eat the scientist guy to get taken to where she is, but Mercer's evolved, friggin' ding-dang it up, and we rip them apart for this. Turns out Mercer wants our daughter too, to experiment on her or something. Then we get a call from Rooks. He's the Blackwatch guy that's been trying to kill us this whole game. I forgot to mention him earlier. He tells us that he has our daughter and goads us to come get her. So, obviously, we storm Blackwatch HQ. I love this half of the mission. It's the exact rage-fueled assault you'd expect from a character like Heller. And after we get the mission-specific Juggernaut pack power, it becomes a power trip because everything dies and explodes in one hit. We get into the building, Rooks gets out of our way, but gasp! Maya's in the middle of getting kidnapped by Galloway. Who could have seen this coming besides everyone who's played a game where you have a defenseless close friend or family member? If you're wondering why Galloway's doing the kidnapping, it's because of this.
We work well together, Heller. James, let's get the hell out of this place. Forget Mercer. We could build something all our own. We do make a pretty good team, don't we?
I don't want to get between you and Mercer. Besides, I'd probably catch something.
I mean, I'd be pretty mad too. Not kidnap someone's daughter mad, but you know. We go after them, and now is the final confrontation with Alex. I love Heller in this cutscene.
Where's Maya?
Safe for the moment.
You're gonna tell me, either on your own, or after I skull fuck you and drain your memories out the hole. Enough of your fucking weird, fucking rambling shit! Give me my daughter!
To contrast that, Alex is... ugh.
Can't you understand what I'm doing? Humanity is stagnant, dying. I would give it one body, one mind. Think about it. No more conflict, no more disease, no more suffering. Don't you see? I'm giving it a second chance.
Are you shitting me? He wants to make humanity too?
It's time you gave me something. You see, young Amaya shares your brand of annoyingly resilient DNA. And when she's ready, your daughter will become the mother of the new world.
Yeah, whatever, Mercer. Can you eat them so we can fight already? Thank you. This is the one and only boss fight in Prototype 2, and it's way better than anything in the first game. Alex isn't near as difficult as anyone in the first game, which, good. The bosses in Prototype 1 weren't difficult because they were extreme tests of skill, they were difficult because of all the bullshit attached to them. The only thing to keep in mind when fighting Alex is to not use the same weapon he's using and to keep an eye out for surprise QTEs. Otherwise, it's like fighting a super evolved, which Alex is, so fitting. We kick his ass after I get killed by him 6 times somehow. Wow, I suck. And we eat him.
Welcome to the top of the food chain.
After eating him, we do this thing. I think that gets rid of the virus other than Heller. We hug our daughter, look to the sunset, and game over. That's how Prototype 2 ends. Now it's time for some criticism. Before I even started talking about the story, I said it wasn't good. That's because I have a problem with a couple of things. First of all, they turned Alex Mercer into a comic book villain. Why? He wasn't a villain in the first game. He wasn't a good dude, he even said so himself, but he did stop a bunch of fucked up stuff from happening. He also saved the majority of Manhattan from being nuked by flying it out to sea and tanking it with his face. By the end of the game, he wasn't swearing vengeance on humanity, or even Blackwatch for what happened. He was just unsure of his place as basically a brand new life form who, by every metric, is superior to every other living being. It was an interesting way to cap off a game where you are a murderous monster who's only kind of a hero because you are taking down the bigger, metaphorical monsters. And the literal bigger monsters too. I know there's tie-in comics that cover what happens in between games. They probably explain why Alex became evil, but I haven't read them, so I only have the games to go off of. And just based off of that, it doesn't make much sense to me. There are moments that work in isolation. Like Alex's plan actually makes sense, even if it's generic. It is just another next phase of evolution for humanity plot, but at least this time, it's legitimately like a next phase of evolution instead of mindless berserker monsters. Like, I see the vision, you know? And everything that goes into Alex's plot is interesting to see unfold. Like, White Light. I really like the reveal behind what White Light is, and I like seeing just how deep Alex's claws go into Blackwatch and Gentek at every level. In a lot of the side missions where you're doing something seemingly basic, an Evolve pops up to throw a wrench into things. Either they were the target of the mission, and you don't know they're an Evolved until you try to eat them, or Alex sends them to mess up the mission you're doing. It really sells that Alex is pulling the strings behind the scenes for basically the entire game. Okay, good thing's over. Back to complaints. Next problem with the story is the pacing. I know I spent more time talking about the plot of this game than I did the first one, but trust you me, everything I just talked about happens really fast. Nothing is given time to set in. There's no overarching across the whole game mystery to solve. For example, White Light. As much as I like it, it's over in like 30 or 40 minutes. Maybe even less if you're not playing on hard mode like I was. Not that that's impressive or anything. Prototype 2 isn't that difficult. Anyways, you get told about White Light, go to find out what it is, find out Mercer's fiddled with it, go to find out more stuff about it, see it in action, then you dispose of basically all of it. Mystery introduced, mystery almost immediately solved. It really is that quick. Same thing with Koenig. You go to find him, accept his help to stop the Super Soldier Project, then the next mission you two are fighting, it happens so fast. He doesn't string you along or anything, you're just fighting right away. I did leave out a few details when talking about the story, but it wouldn't have added more than maybe 5 minutes to the plot summary. Now, personally, I do prefer a fast-paced game that doesn't drag its feet, but reaching the end of the plot lines in Prototype 2 feels like it happens by accident, like you blink and you miss it. There's so little build-up to things that seem important, and then it's just over. This isn't a long game either. I want to say it's about 6 or 7 hours, even if you're doing all of the side stuff, including the arcadey DLC things. Now, for my final problem with this story, Heller's daughter. Okay, this one is a little more nitpicky than the other ones, but it bothers me every time I play too. It bothers me for two specific reasons. First and foremost, she comes out of fucking nowhere. Other than just guessing tropes, there is zero indication that she didn't die with her mom. I bring this up specifically because Heller says this after Dana tells you she's alive.
She's alive. I always hoped.
No, you fucking didn't. You didn't say shit about her. You tried to get yourself killed taking revenge on Mercer. You think he'd be a little more self-preserving if he had any shred of hope that his daughter was alive. Now look, I wouldn't be saying shit if he talked about his daughter before the final act of the game. It doesn't even have to be a line about him hoping she's alive. It could just be a throwaway line about how they never found her body. At least then it would have some setup versus nothing, and could be an actual reveal, even if it's cliche. Every other plot point has build-up, even if it's only like 10 minutes of it, but still. Second problem, and honestly the most egregious one, her existence leads to the worst line from Mercer in the game. It's this one.
You see, young Amaya shares your brand of annoyingly resilient DNA. And when she's ready, your daughter will become the mother of the new world!
Oh, it's bad, man. It's like a 50-50 chance whether or not I laugh or cringe when he says that. Right now, it's just painful cringe at how a character I like turned into this. This is especially bad, because he says basically the same thing earlier in a memory cutscene, and it's much better there.
You idiot! Heller's daughter must not be harmed. May I ask why? Sir, I'm interested in her genetic makeup, for one. For another, I want James Heller to see everything I do to her firsthand.
It's still super villainy, but at least it's not steeped in cringe. He wants to make a hive mind and more evolved, by the way. I don't know how Heller's daughter is supposed to help with that, but whatever. The overall issue with her is every bad part of the story is perfectly exemplified when it comes to her. Bad pacing in the form of her just kind of being dropped in out of nowhere, and supervillain Alex Mercer is at his absolute supervillainness when it comes to her, and it leads to the worst line in the game. Oh my god, it sucks so bad. I'm still thinking about it. Anyways, I gotta stop before I get too ranty. So, overall, the story isn't great, but I don't hate it. And again, the dialogue remains entertaining the whole time. And now that I've talked about basically everything in Prototype 2, I'm gonna say something that some people would take as heretical. I like Prototype 2 more than Prototype 1. Now, I don't necessarily think that it's a better game, but I do think it's a more complete, and, significantly more importantly, balanced one. Even though some gameplay parts are worse, or just changed, and the story is worse, the parts that I hated about 1 were the parts that were improved, and that's more than enough reason for me to like it over the first one. That being said, I recommend both games. They come in a cheap bundle on digital console storefronts. Don't get the PC port, it sucks, and you probably have to mod it to get it to work correctly. Anyways, that's the end of the review. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Hopefully nothing catastrophic happens again. You can take away from that what you will. Bye-bye.